using a Mac using Pages. Okay, so first thing I need to do is get rid of the words, otherwise it affects how I make my template. Next thing I'm going to do is change the shape of the document and get rid of the headers and footers because I don't need all that when I'm making a card. So remove header, remove footer, and the document margins, I know that this bit here won't print for 2.5 centimeters on my printer because that's the bit where it spits it out. So I need to make that slightly larger, but I know I can do 60.63 of a centimeter around the rest. So as you can see, it's actually got a very thin border now, as you can see where this is blinking. So that is my printer capabilities. Your might be slightly different, so you just need to know how your printer works. So the first thing I'm going to do, I need to find a center. So I'm going to use a shape. This is the easy way I found to do it, and the Mac's pretty good. It will tell me where my center is. Not the center of the page, but the center of my printing capability. As you can see, it came up with that yellow line. That is where the center for my printing capability is. If I come across slightly, it will tell me where the center of the page is, but that's not useful to me because obviously it doesn't print right to the edge evenly. So that is where my two cards are going to go. One's going to go this side, one's going to go this side. And don't worry, we trim off this with the guillotine. Next thing I need to know is where the fold is going to be. So I'm going to copy that, it's Command C, Command V, and I'm going to find the actual center of the page this way because the printing edge is the same either side here. So I know I can go to exactly my center line. So I'm just waiting for the yellow, there it is. So that is the center. So I know that if I have a landscape card here or portrait card, whatever, and a card, the writing here, again, there'll be a portrait card here, picture, and then the wording here. So I'll guillotine down here and guillotine down here. So I'll end up with two cards of I think it's A5. In fact, it's probably A6. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to actually put a picture in. Now you can just add a picture. I can do that by just going to Media, Choose, and I've got one on the desktop ready. It's just called Fish. Double click on it, and as you can see, it prints. It gets everything out of the way, and I don't want it to move everything around. So the first thing you need to do is go back to Format, go to Arrange, and remove this text wrap. At the moment, it's actually putting it in or around any words, etc. So I want none. Then all of a sudden, nothing else moves. So I'm going to just go small, and as you can see, I would put 2 here. But we're actually making a template. So before we start adding pictures, I just find it easier to put in a frame because I don't know where to put this each time I do it. So I'm going to delete my picture and actually put in a frame because that's how I do it, and it's easier. So I look for a shape, I'm going to go for square, and I'm just going to pop a square in here which will end up an oblong, and I want sort of the edges to be the same, so the edge all around here to be roughly the same. I'm going to go to the style, and I am going to choose a border, and I'm just going to choose any of the borders. There we go, that's a border, and you can obviously change the colour to whatever you want, but I find the black works for me. And I don't want it filled, so I'm going to say no fill, and that way I end up with a nice square frame, and I'm going to put my picture straight in there. So now whenever I put my picture in, it'll always fit perfectly because I've already got it set up. I need one here as well, so Command C, Command V, Command C for copy, Command V for paste on a Mac, and there you go. I'm just going to make it about the same size, and like I can adjust it quite finely using my left and right up and down buttons. So there you go, that's where my pictures are going to go, and here I need some text. So let's go straight to the text, open that up, and I'm going to title this, I'm just going to put an X for now, and I am going to, obviously, I need to turn it so that it's either landscape or portrait. This is going to be a portrait template. So I need to put it so that the top of the writing's here, the bottom of the writing's here, because the top of the picture will be here and the bottom of the picture here, because that's the format. So I need to arrange my text differently, and here you've got a rotate button, and let's just come off and click back on because you want to get it highlighted. I can spin the writing round as much as I want, and as you can see, as I spin it, it's all being affected. That's because the automatic text wrap is on. Let's just take that off and it won't make a difference. So now it will just be on its own, and I know it needs to be 270, so I'm just going to take that easily 270. So that will straighten it up. That's nice and straight now. And as you can see, it just says XXX. This, go to your text, I'll make it bold, I'll get a different font. This is so that, and I want it approximately that size, I want it in the center. There we go. I'm sure you know how to do this. And I don't want my title to ever be too big, so I need to keep it around this size. I'm going to change the font, because you can't see it so well. I've just put X's in here because I want the font to always be the same. So I just double click on it, type whatever I want to type, and then the font will always be the same. Let's copy this again. Copy, paste. I just use Control and V because it's quicker. And I will put that there. As you can see, it's lined it up, telling me where the center is, where this one is. Not necessarily the center, but lining it up. Don't want it near the edges. I also want to put, so that's going to be the title of the card. I also want to put my details on. So I Control V again. I can get the same box up and then change artwork by the. Oh, it's disappeared. So let's change that smaller. There we go. We're making it smaller. So that would be okay. That would be the back of the card. That's the top, that's the bottom, and we'll copy that, Control C, Control V, and again we've got it down the bottom. So that is my template. All I have to do is insert a picture here, and my template is done. However, I really don't want these lines anymore, so I don't need this line at all, because I know where the fold will be, because we know it's exactly right. So we can delete that now we've created the template. And this one, I like to keep that in for when I'm guillotining. So I'm actually going to change the style of it up here. I'm going to have dots. I'm going to turn it as small as I can go, not quite that small. And I'm going to have it grey. So although you can't quite see it, when you're cutting you can. But if you don't quite get it exact, it doesn't detract from the picture and no one really spots it but you. So I know that's only there for me. So that is my completed template for portrait cards. Again, the fold will be here. That's the front, that's the back. So File, Save as a template, Add to Template Chooser, and we'll call this over here. It doesn't always work. Control, click, keep your finger on Control and click, and rename it to Card. I'm just going to call it Port because I've already got a card portrait. Okay, we'll call that, we'll create that. And look, that is not my template. That is actually my card ready to fill in. If I wanted to, I could go File, New, go to My Templates, and the latest one you've done is usually at the top as you saw. But I can go to My Templates and find. It's actually not giving it a new name, so Control, click, rename, test 1, 2, 3. Let's see if that's it. Oh, it's not saving. Don't know what happened there. Let's just get it back. Let's find Pages. Oh, Pages shut down. There it is. Ignore that bit. So anyway, so here is my template. But the problem is my picture might be landscape. So all we have to do is File, Duplicate, So now we have another one. Ignore. And we just need to turn these, arrange these so that they fit. And again, do you remember the rotate button? You need it 180, so let's just go for 180. Okay, because this will be the bottom of the card, this will fold here, and again that needs to be 180. So that when you write here and fold it in half, that's the top of the card, that's the top of the card, that's the bottom of the picture card, that's the bottom of the card. And again, we need to just delete these. And again, we're not changing the template is fixed. Command C, Command V, and there we go. There are your, see it's lined it all up for me in the center and in the line. So that I would then file, save as a template, add to template chooser, and now I would call this, it says Untitled 2, but you know it should. I don't know why it's not saving it properly. Go away. I don't know why it's saving it properly, and I'm going to call it card. And this was landscape. I'm just going to call it land because it's create. There we go. So as you can see, we now have one landscape and we also have one portrait. So let's have the portrait one. So these, if I needed to open it, I would just go File, New, go to My Templates, and down the bottom, they're probably down here somewhere, Untitled Copies. So these just need naming, and as you can see, sometimes it doesn't work and I just get bored with it. So just rename them, as I said, Control, hot finger on Control, over there, rename, and done. And you can delete as well if you're not happy with it. So we'll just cancel that, we don't need it because it's here. So now we're going to put a picture in. So we go to Media, choose, and I've got one, I've got fish there, insert. As you can see, it's moved everything around. Do you remember what we had to do? We had to go to arrange, text wrap, none, and then all of a sudden nothing's changing. So I need to make that fit, so, and turn it round. Do you remember how we did that? We did the rotate, and it's going to be 280, I think it is. 280. Oop, no, 290. No. 370. Hey, there we go. Just going to move it with my left and right buttons because it's more sensitive. This one doesn't quite fit, so again we have a choice of either double clicking, making it smaller, and then dragging it to fit, you know, like that, and then we can double click on it and make it fit that way. So we have that choice, or we have a choice where we can, I'll just go backwards, or we have a choice where we can go to constrain proportions, remove that, and then we can change the actual proportions of it. I'm going to Control C, Control V, and pop it in there. Okay, again using my left and right buttons to make sure it all fits nicely. Just need to make sure that fits nicely too. Again, we've covered up our frame, which I like, so I'm sending the picture to the back so that the frame is there. Now, if you don't like the frame, you can remove it, so you can click on the frame, just make sure it is the frame, and delete. And then you just end up with the picture. So you just have to choose how you like it. But I always have a frame there, so it's really easy to place where your picture is. Because if you're trying to place this, it's difficult to know where it goes. So I just find, have the frame there, and if you want to remove it, you can. So then I would print, I'd go File, Print, and then in, oh, cancel. You have to change the words first. So fish, fish. There you go. So now I would print it and go File, print, and this is where I have a complete setup. So I've set mine up already, but I would make sure I go to media and quality, it's at the best. I would make sure that my layout was what I wanted. I would check the paper handling, you know, where's the paper coming from, maybe your print is different, and all the other stuff. So I would just make sure that media quality was set to best. And then I would print. You can print black and white, you can print many. You only need to print one page. Don't make sure it doesn't drag onto another page, because if you do sometimes move this around incorrectly, you end up with an extra page, and you don't want any of that. So I hope that helps. You would just guillotine it straight down, fold it in half, put it in a put it with an envelope in the middle so that it has your name on the outside. So I would slip the envelope inside the card and then slip it in a plastic envelope. The plastic envelope in cellophane you can get off Amazon, and I get my envelopes from the Works, because it doesn't have a logo in it. I find it's not so great if it's got Hobbycraft or Tesco's written on it, and they're like the cheapest ones, so the Works does it for me, and that way I can keep my cards cheap because it's only an envelope. But if you want posh envelopes, go to Hobbycraft or get them online. But the cellophane, you want C6 for size, and that will fit this size card. I hope that helps you, and you can do your own now. Any questions, give me a buzz.